Krishnamoorthi, a Democrat from Illinois. Congressman, thank you so much for being with us. The president says he's made 200 deals. What information do you have about progress on any negotiations with other countries right now?
I have zero information because I don't think there are any deals. In fact, the other day he said that he's talking to the Chinese, and the Chinese Communist Party basically said, we are not in any talks with Donald Trump. I mean, this is kind of a situation where I think his nose is lengthening by the day with regard to these tariffs. Yesterday, I actually visited businesses throughout Illinois who have been affected. I went to a soybean farm that's facing retaliation by the Chinese and others. I went to a produce market where they're basically saying working families are going to pay 5 to 10% more for their fruits, flowers, and vegetables. This is a tax on working families. And I think that right now people are very, very upset.
One of the things the president has said in this interview is he would view it as a success if tariffs on China were still at 50% a year from now. You have moved over the last several years to be tougher on China. What are the areas which you would be tougher in?
Well, I think that we should continue what the Biden administration did, following up on the first Trump administration with regard to strategic tariffing, where the Chinese practice, for instance, dumping or other tools of economic aggression, where they dump products at prices less than the cost of even producing them. So glass, paper, steel, aluminum, solar panels, electric vehicles, those are areas where I think strategic tariffing makes sense to level the playing field, to make sure that our companies are able to compete. However, if you impose blanket tariffs on everything, including from everywhere, whether they are friends, partners, or allies, or China, basically what you do is you just increase prices. It's a tax on working families. And now it's leading to potential layoffs, as well as a pause in hiring and investment. So we're headed toward a recession because of Trump's policies.
We just reported, and I don't know if you heard, that the President's Special Envoy Steve Witkoff is believed to be meeting at this moment with Russian leader Vladimir Putin, talking about the future of Russia's war on Ukraine. Inside the same Time magazine story we've been quoting from, the president was asked about various proposals on the table. Time asked him, should Ukraine give up any hope of ever joining NATO? The president said, I don't think they'll ever be able to join NATO. I think that's been from day one. I think that's what caused the war to start when they started talking about joining NATO. If they weren't brought up, there would have been a much better chance that it wouldn't have started. Your view on that, but also, what concessions at this point do you think Ukraine should be willing to make? Will they have to accept a Russian presence on part of its territory?
Well, first of all, the reason for this war is that Russia invaded Ukraine. That is the reason. And basically, with regard to recognition, for instance, of Russia's conquest of Crimea, which is another demand that the Trump administration is making, basically what that's going to do is that kind of recognition of a conquest by force is going to invite more conquests by force, whether it's in Europe or with the Chinese Communist Party in Taiwan. In terms of concessions by the Ukrainians, I think, look, we may end up with some kind of an armistice or truce, the way that we have in the Korean Peninsula, at least temporarily, where the current battle lines are, used to help draw the armistice lines. But I don't think that we should recognize conquest by force anywhere, and certainly not with regard to Crimea or the lands that were conquered by the Russians.
Congressman, I'm not sure if you've heard, but Illinois Senior Senator Dick Durbin has announced that he is not running for re-election. As you sit here this morning, what are your plans regarding what will be an open Senate seat?
I'll have an announcement about that on a later date. But today, basically we're talking about Dick Durbin's legacy and his service to Illinois, his exemplary work in Illinois. He'll go down as one of our great senators. And as a fellow son of downstate, I'm very grateful for his service.
How much of a later date and what kind of an announcement?
I'll be having an announcement on that shortly. But today, I'm talking about Dick Durbin's service, as well as the fact that, Donald Trump is absolutely hurting working families through his tariffs. I'm also going to be doing an event today with regard to Vietnam veterans. Now we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of their service in Vietnam. And so those are the issues that we're talking about today.
Congressman Raja Krishnamoorthi, we appreciate you talking to us, and we look forward to hearing from you on a later date. Thank you very much. Sarah?
All right.